Say no more.
Guys, welcome back to another video. As you see from the title, we're doing a little install again, and this time the TMW doors on this Pro R. This is going to apply to pretty much all the Pro machines out there, the Pro XP and the new Turbo R. Sick doors. I gotta say, I really like the look of these machines, but I also like the look of these machines with these doors. And you can see the different pattern that TMW has versus some of the other guys out there. They have this swooping line from the very back top corner to the bottom, kind of to match the lines on the RZR Pro, and I think it looks really good. So we're gonna install these step by step. We're gonna show you guys how to do it
Down to the last detail.
So there's a reason I always choose TMW when it comes to doors, and that's because of the construction of the doors, from the skin to the frame to the door bags that they make custom made to fit the machine. Now obviously on this one it's a 4-seat, so we have front and rear doors. We'll show you the back real quick. They do make their own frame for the door. It's a one-piece frame and then the one-piece skin. They are bolted together using Allen button-head bolts. And we have this bag here that is also attached via one of the bolts and a strap here. Very nice. On the front door, very similar construction to the rear. As you can see, it's got like this pocket design here because this actually meets up to the front fender. But I really like this design, and this is something I wanted to point out when it comes to the other doors on the market. A lot of the other doors don't have this in this location. Normally they have it down here. They kind of have a flat frame. TMW doesn't do that. They have a bend to their frame and they meet at the edge of the door skin, and what that does is it triangulates everything and makes it nice and sturdy at the top. So right here we have all our hardware. It doesn't come in this container, but I like to put them in these containers. But pretty much you get your hardware to attach the skin to the frame, the nuts that are gonna go with those bolts. These long bolts here attach your door frame to the hinges. And with that, you're also going to use these dowel round bushings, and this is what creates the nice and smooth door opening and closing. I mean, these things are super smooth, really smooth. And of course you have the hardware for that, as well as you have these caps for the tubes on the door frames. So at the very front here it says TMW. It's aluminum CNC'd, and it's got the logo on there. And I believe we have them in the rear as well. Okay, in the rear, I think it's only in the back tube here. So they give you plenty for all the doors. Just be aware, you want to install these before you put the door skins on. You get foam tape to sandwich between the door frame and the door skin. You get new hinges. This is going to be your lower hinge, and this is going to be your upper hinge. The lower hinge is a little skinnier looking. We got these plates that go on the upper hinge on the back side. So there's the hinge. There's that plate. And it's a threaded plate, so you can run your bolts in. That way you don't have to be holding them. That's very nice. And then here we have these two plates. You get two for each side. They're different cuts. And I'll show you guys what they look like on here. And that's that right there. So what you do is you remove a little rubber bushing from the factory doors, and that rubber bushing, you reuse it, and that helps with the noise as well. So very nice that they made that little small detail on these doors. And last but not least are these door hinge spacers. Remember, you're going to be reusing the hardware. We have the latch and the push button release for the latch. And obviously, if you order the door bags were going to come in the box as well. So that's a separate option. We highly recommend you get them because there is no other door bag that's going to fit this door. And also, it looks completely amazing.
Dude, it looks amazing.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this car around. That way I can show you guys how to remove the stock doors, how to take apart those doors and remove the latches. And then we're going to go ahead and install the new TMW doors on the driver's side. By the way, guys, go to glifeutv.com. If you want to pick up these doors, use the discount code GLIFE5 and save yourself 5%.
Let's go.
These doors aren't bad. They make the machine look a little fugly, and that's what the TMW doors cure, for one. So we'll pull off the front doors because most of you guys have two-seaters. What I'm gonna go ahead and do is take this off and put it on this stand that I have. They're only about 20 bucks at Harbor Freight. I highly suggest you get one of these if you're gonna be doing door installs. Removing these doors is the same exact process front and back. You're gonna wanna use a 13 millimeter. Cordless ratchet works great, by the way. And take out the two bolts sitting right there and the two bolts down here. By the way, we're gonna reuse this hardware, so do not throw this away. So there she is with no doors. To remove the latch and the push button, you have to separate the skin from the door frame. So it's a mixture of T40s, T30s, and you're gonna use an 8 millimeter to remove the two bolts holding the latch itself.
Come here, bud. Come here.
So make sure you keep the old hardware. For the button, it's these two Torx, and for the latch, like I said, these two 8 millimeters. Now this rubber part you're no longer going to use on the front doors. I've tried it with it and it kind of makes it hard to close the door, so you're not going to use the rubber, but I would keep it in a safe place just in case for the future. On the rear door, for whatever reason, they're using T25s mostly. All right guys, also for the rear door, you can see the latch here. Into the frame, they built in this little pocket that has that little small rubber bushing right there. You're gonna reuse that rubber bushing. So once you remove those two 8 millimeters, make sure you don't lose that bushing because it's gonna wanna fall out. I'm gonna tell you something I'm gonna repeat again later in this video. Note, the left front door latch and push button go on the left front door. The right front goes on the right front door. But for the rear doors, you're gonna actually wanna swap them side to side. So the latch and the button, which are these two guys right here, are actually gonna swap sides. The left side goes on the right side and the right side goes on the left side. What? And that's it. That's the only difference.
Say no more.
So there might be some confusion there, but make sure you get that right and it's smooth sailing from there. Now we got to build the door. So do step by step and follow this process, because there's some steps you have to do before you do the other ones, because then you have to go backwards if you do the wrong step. So I like to use a little glass cleaner in here. And this is the TMW end cap. And you hit that in with a rubber mallet or a dead blow. Install your push button here. Just try to make sure it's center in the hole, that way it doesn't chip off the powder coat or anything like that. Then we'll install the latch on the front door. It's very easy because the latch goes on the outside, or the bolts go on the outside. So now get your dowel rod bushings. You're gonna want to install these on the frame holes. They should pop into place, or push in. Now get your hinges. Remember, the bigger one is gonna be the upper hinge, and odd about this one, it's gonna point rearward like this, and this one is gonna point inward. So they're gonna point different directions. A little weird, but trust me, it works.
Trust me.
You don't want to over torque this, but you do want to tighten it up so it's not super loose. All right, all the necessary hardware is in place. Now we can place our door skin underneath and figure out where our foam tape is gonna go. What you're gonna do is you're gonna mount your door frame on here. Line up the hose as best as possible. You can even use one of the bolts to just kind of keep it in there so it doesn't move all that much. And with that in place, you can lay down your tape. So I like to mark the ends of where the tube stops touching the skin, because we don't need foam where it's not necessary. Now you can see we can put our foam tape wherever it needs to be. At the top of the door skin, you're probably gonna want to do like an 1/8 of an inch below the end or the edge, but pretty much it's end to end except for about an inch on both sides. The only thing that you do have to know, if you get door bags from TMW, you're gonna want to install them right now, because it does use the 2 bolts at the very top here. Also, before you start tying down the hardware, this door bag, you are gonna need to sneak it in between the skin and the door frame. And that'll be it. You're gonna get a helper to install the door onto the actual body of the machine. Make sure you have a helper, especially for the rear door, because you can come in contact with the painted parts or the painted fenders on this machine really easily, and you don't want to scratch up your paint. So make sure you get a second set of hands. A wife preferably, that way she can feel like she helped with the build and she won't feel so bad when you spend more money on it. Hey, what you smack me for? Oh! So the bottom hinge, it's already threaded in the frame. For the top hinge, you're gonna wanna use this little plate that TMW provides you, so you can install the bolts and not really have to hold a nut on the backside. So this goes on the outside, the bolt goes in from the inside. Now this might be its forever spot. I'm just gonna double check here. And that closes really good. And that might be the spot we leave it at. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten both bolts. All right, the door's on there. It's not completely tight. As you can see, it moves back and forth. We're gonna go ahead and latch the door first. So there, it locked. Make sure it fully latches. And then I can see the lines on the door. The lines look good in the front. It might be a little bit close to the front, but we're not gonna worry about that until the other door is installed. Then we can center the door as best as possible. So right now, where it's at, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten down the bolts. 2 here and the 2 right there. So the door is closing just about perfect. I like the gaps at the bottom. Up here, I like this gap. It's pretty much the same as I have on the other side. The only thing I noticed is maybe this door frame is coming close to this, so I put a piece of foam tape there, but it closes so good. The alignment is perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and install the rear door. The rear door is gonna be the same exact process as far as the hardware installation, the bag installation, the skin. The only difference is gonna be at the latch, and I'll show you guys that right now. All right guys, so here's the latch. And what you're gonna wanna do is, obviously this is gonna go on the outside, right about here. And on the inside, you're gonna wanna get these 2 different looking plates. They're gonna line them up because they are kind of angled in different ways. And this bushing here is also gonna go in here. It's pocketed. So when you go to install this, you're gonna go from the back side. The bushing is gonna get trapped between the frame and these plates. And then this is gonna go right about here. So it's gonna look something like that. You can see here how everything's sandwiched. You can see the 2 plates, then the bushing, then the latch. And that's pretty much trapped in there, it can't come out. And that just helps with the reduction of noise. So the bolts are on there, they're snug, so the door is hung, and now we can carefully inspect the plastic. So as you can see here, as you rotate this one, it's gonna come in contact very so slightly right there. And up top, I can see that this one's gonna come in contact right there, and you can see where it's been in contact a long time ago with the, not a long time ago, but with the older, with the old door. But I could see already the door's kind of dropped. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen up these 2 bolts and push the door this way. You can see here where the door's a little too close, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna loosen up the bolts here and down here, and then possibly the Torx that's down there on the underside or the inner side, and then we're gonna kind of shift this back just a little bit. So I moved this a little bit, gave me a little bit of adjustment, which is great. I still gotta tighten this one to give me a little bit more, but before I do that, because it shares the same bolts for the hinge, I'm actually gonna slide the door a little bit forward, and then the bottom part a little bit forward as well. All right, the adjustment is there. It closes perfectly, and then as far as the back goes, it does clear just fine. Same thing on the bottom. So if you could loosen this fender and actually move it upward just a tiny bit, that'd be perfect. And then all we have to do left is actually put some spacers here to pull this door out. These are slotted and they have the cutouts at the bottom. So all you gotta do is loosen the bolts, slip these in, tighten that back up, and it's perfect. So I'm gonna do that right now. And these are gonna go like that. Might have to tap them in because this guy's fighting me. All right, so I put 2 spacers just like I did the other side. We'll tighten that back up. Don't slam the door, make sure your alignment's good first. Now all you gotta do is check your final adjustments. And just make sure that the doors do not rub on each other. So that looks a lot better. This is out a little bit, but I think it's good that way. because this needs to be able to swing inward. And as you can see, we're clearing everything. Door fully open. Is it making contact? It's closed, but it's not. Definitely if you swing your door open, it might hit, you know, just keep that in mind. And then here in the rear, we're looking at the paint job here. Nothing hits.
You must quit.
Closes like a dream. It's good to go. And of course, there's one last step. Spray away. This thing works great. Get yourself a nice clean microfiber. This one's not that clean, by the way, but clean enough. And wipe your doors down. So if you get your machine brand new and you want to avoid having any paint chips from the factory doors, I suggest you adjust these right away, because yeah, they were chipped on both sides. So now they look amazing. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all the support that you guys give us. If you want to support the channel, glifeutv.com. If you're not subscribed yet, I highly suggest you subscribe, and I really would appreciate it. Like this video to help with the algorithm. So if you found this video informative, make sure to leave that like, guys. Peace out.